Hello everyone. Today we are going to do this scene which I saw in Peaky Blinders and I was totally keen into doing this. So we are going to make today something like this with the help of Cinema 4D and Octane. So the version of Cinema 4D I am using is R20.59 I guess. Yeah. And Octane 2020 the version 0.14. So this is a scene. Basically, I try to do very less in post. I try to achieve everything in 3D itself, in Octane itself, in Cinema 4D itself. So most of the stuff which I'm going to show you is already done like in Octane, and we will do very less of a post. I will show how I did the post also. So basically right now I have few layers. I put the layers because I want to little bit be little bit organized. And right now I'm just going to show you this scene, and so I'm just going to close off the fog because this creates so much of render times. I will give you the link of the files, all the files which are free, not the purchase one. I will provide a link down in the description so you can all download them. It would be there in my Gumroad channel. So right now the fog is hidden, so we can start from the scratch of the whole scene, how I created this scene, where I got these models from, and how we will proceed further in all the scene and the lighting. So this is the scene. I have added a new panel, a new window over here so that I can just come out of my camera and work like this. So you can see basically how I set up my whole scene, and this scene is like in a perspective kind of a way. So things are like managed like this, and when we go inside the camera, like here over here, you can see how they don't look disorganized. I have made them properly in the way knowingly so that you can see how we arrange things in a perspective kind of view. So I will be starting from scratch, creating the roads and going upwards towards the whole topic. So coming back here, I will just tell you what I did from scratch. Over here, basically what I wanted to do in the scene, I saw the scene, I saw some references, and I saw them, I thought like, okay, yeah, I need to create a structure. So what I did was, I form out a layer using the spine, and making a spine, I've just created some patterns, some road patterns, and then aligned some pavements to the spline, and then I just created a normal plane and made some roads out of it so that I know, yeah, these are the roads, and beside these roads there are going to be buildings. So I created like that. So then opening to the buildings folder, these are the pavements, like sidewalks I created side by side working. There are models from Sketchfab and CG Trader and Turbo Squid. These are free models. You can go and download them. They are very high res. Maybe I will provide you a link with them. You can just check them out. I added some grass over here. Obviously you can't see it right now because these are all having Octane textures and alpha maps. So I will be going back to Octane part also. I'm just going right now to the structure of how I created the whole thing and the buildings. So with the buildings, I will just explain you the left side first. Coming to the left side, what I did was, I added these buildings. These are available in Kit Bash. I have this Kit Bash model provided. So I made these buildings. Basically I have seen like people are saying that these are not fully scaled or something like that. I saw the buildings when I was making them, and they were like quite some of them were like quite tall, some of them were like quite small. So I thought of going with this kind of building look. So I added buildings, sorry, so and some of the chimneys and everything. All the models which you are seeing, like this gutter over here and these chimneys over here, there are separate models. These are not a part of the building. I managed to gather them from different websites. I made some of them. These are the some of them are the made assets which I did, and then I aligned them together because it's very difficult to find a particular exact theme of the model you are looking for, exact century of the model you are looking for, and exact all the same things to be there. So I just cheated a little bit and found the models here and there and made some of them and made some displacement maps to create this geometry. And right now this is the right side, because I didn't want it, already the geometry is so high, I didn't want things to be go pretty much more steep. So what I did was I created instances of the chimneys. The more instances I could have created, like anywhere I could create instances, I did. The buildings I didn't want to do that because I don't want the same buildings to repeat. I just wanted some random buildings. I know that this will take huge, what you say, VRAM and slow down the viewport, but I was willing to take this risk because I wanted some variation in the scene. I don't want things to be quite similar everywhere. So coming back over here, what I did was, I will show you another building. I arranged this building. This was the kit bash from the industrial scene, and I added some buildings over here. And this plane I will just hide right now. Sorry. These are the buildings. I arranged them in a pattern so that this camera, which is, I will show you, this camera which is set to 15 mm, because I wanted a wide scene. I wanted to have a grand kind of look going on. I didn't want it to have a very narrow depth of field and everything. So I created a whole big scene, whole wide scene, so that people can browse things. They can see, yeah, what's going on in the whole scene, and they can have many more things to see. So this was the way I did, and this is the bridge. Again, this bridge is freely available on Sketchfab. There are things I will tell you how the textures I made, all of the textures I made myself. There are things which I did myself in this to make it more better, because obviously you won't find, that's what I told you, you won't find the exact models everywhere. The ones you want, you won't find the exact models, and if you find them, they will be quite expensive. So this was the zero paid out thing I did. Like, there is nothing which is like quite expensive, and it is like almost free. Things which are paid are like very like the kit bash. I just didn't purchase this for this particular scene. I purchased this for some other projects which I've been doing, so I used those in this. But many of the building, like these two buildings, this bridge, are free, so you can just play with the buildings. You can see which building suits you. You can just try the whole scene which I am providing you with, or you can just create your own scene with this. So you can see over here like how the building is arranged in a manner. So coming back to the cars I did were like this. These are the two cars, because in Peaky Blinders, which I saw over there in that era, 1990, 1920, 30s, these Ford T model and A model used to be very popular that time. This is the Ford A model and this is the Ford T model. So these were very popular that time, so I used the same thing. I wanted to go with the same kind of vibe, so I used these cars and created my own textures on them, because the free textures which are provided, they don't go exactly the way you want. So I saw many references of Peaky Blinder on Google, and I saw references of Ford T and A model, and I figured out, yeah, this is the way to go. And cutting short of this, because I don't want this video to be too long, going to the cranes, I created one crane and instanced it twice and used it over two over here and one over here. Sorry. Added some extra chimneys. Same, just picked this chimneys, just made some changes on top of them and just rotated them, giving them different scaling and rotation values. Scaffolds. These are the ones which I wanted to see, because you see that kind of industrial era where all the construction was going on usually all the time. So I wanted to have that construction kind of feel going on, like buildings are created, worked on and repaired, something like that going on. So I wanted that. And these are the very good models I got of street lights. These are the street lights. So I thought, okay, I'm making a morning scene, street lights won't be lit and you won't be able to see it properly. But I didn't want people to see it totally clearly. They need to navigate the scene because this is a wide camera lens I'm using, and I'm telling them to know, okay, just go wild and see everything you can. Just zoom in and see whatever you can. There are many things which people should zoom in and see. You don't want everything to be detailed out, everything to be mentioned. Yeah, this is a street lamp, it is glowing. Obviously this is a morning scene. I don't want everything to be glowing all the time. So this was the whole scene I created for the without the textures. So coming back to the texturing part right now, this fog is not the part of the whole modeling thing. Usually I create fogs at the end of creating and lighting the whole scene, and at the end I do fogs because they take huge amount of VRAM and huge amount of viewport space and everything, and they hang the whole scene. So I try to play with them at the end of the scene because I don't want to slow down my scene or crash my scene altogether. So starting from the whole scene from scratch, as I explained, now I will be going with the textures. And for the texturing part, I just start with a basic daylight. I put an Octane daylight over there and just move the camera, move the light where I want over there, this side, the light coming from this side, and I just keep it over there because it's not final. It's not necessary that it is going to be final. It's just that I just need a perspective of all the light is coming from and where this whole texture will look like. So I put a daylight over here. I'm not going to discuss these lights right now, right away. So on the roads, I'd already told you that these are the roads made by the planes and everything. Let's go inside the camera and see what it looks like. So basically how I made this was using two materials, one a mud and a floor. So I will just go with you. This was a mud texture which I used. I got this mud texture from Quixel Mixer, and you can just download the Quixel Mixer. It is free, and whenever you just use the preset, the first preset is the wet mud preset. You can just download in 8K resolution. It was very nice texture. It is a very well recommended app. So I used that, and I got these few maps. Then I use a displacement to have this kind of look. Let's see how the floor looks just with the mud texture. This is the mud texture which was going on, and I was happy with it. But then I thought, okay, no, the cars are going around and you can see streaks of marks and streaks on the roads. So you basically need some of the floor which is like totally having streaks and everything. Then again went to Quixel Mixer and created this using just basic presets. They are freely available. You can pay for them also if you need more high resolution or more options. So I'm just using the free version, and I created this texture in this. I will be providing this texture with you to the Gumroad file. And so I arranged both of them and created a mixed material out of them and connected these two. Basically nothing is going on with them, no color correction. I didn't do anything. I didn't found much to do in those things. So I basically connected them and did a little bit color correction on this, but I wanted mud to be like this only. And then I created one mixed texture and added some dirt with the noise inside with a follow-up map, so that it is not everywhere, the dirt and these two things are not mixing everywhere, and these are coming in between, like these are actually showing that yeah, people have walked over here, cars have gone through this road and something. So I put this same texture everywhere because I don't want my scene to be too heavy, creating so many 8K different textures and putting on roads, because nobody is going to usually see them. In the picture when you see it from here, it's just like this, right? So this is the way that I did the roads. Now coming back to the buildings. So with the buildings you can see there are many things going on. I will just shut down side by side. I want to go with you, like not all together. Let's shut down some of the buildings right now, and let's deal with these two buildings. what I did was I managed these buildings, and I will just show you going inside the building. Let's do this building first and open the camera so that we can just have a close look on the textures and everything which are going around. So basically this is the building facade, and to create this I used this material brick. So what I did was basically added a diffuse, added this material roughness and the same old things which we do, normals and roughness and displacement over here. For displacement I obviously have to use this, for Octane we have to use texture displacement over here. So I added a height of 7.742 and mid-level to 0.05 to get this kind of, you know, grungy and rough look the old buildings used to have, because these are bricks and they were not always straightly aligned. And what I did was I added some color correction to make it a little bit more, you know, darker and brighter at the same time, and added some added a mixed texture with RGB spectrum of brown color, so that, you know, you can use it as a dirt and apply wherever you want to have, you know, dirts in between the bricks and on sides and on edges. So I did usually that to create this texture, and it was, I think it was like pretty good. When you see from sides, you can see, like, you know, with the light coming from this side, you can see, yeah, this is an old building, this is a building which usually go around at that era. So coming to the topic again, for the frames, what I did was I use a dark metal. To show this, because these are some things, you know, you don't want to go with all the 8K 4K resolutions, because this will be very heavy on your scene. So I was like quite skeptical of that, and I thought, okay, I'm not going to use all those heavy textures all the time, my scene would be quite heavy. So what I did was I used basic materials. I created a simple dark metal with some noise inside, even because I have to use the same material over and over again on different objects. That's how I save usually my VRAM, and I don't make my scene heavy. So this was this, and what else is there? Facade like this. So that's what I told you again. I didn't want it to create some different textures again and again, saving the VRAM. What I did was I created a mixed texture with same dark metal and the brick I created before, and then just added some dirt on them, on this mixed texture, and just mixed them, so to make this kind of, you know, more grungy look. Right now if you see from here, obviously it won't be that what you say appealing to you. It's just that it depends on the camera angle, where the light is coming from and where you are applying the textures to it. Everything depends on them. Okay, so coming back to the other building, I would be going to the footpaths in a while. So coming back to the right side of the buildings, so let's see. Basically you will be like quite shocked to know that all the scenes which I have been doing, I use only one material, and it goes all the way to the end. I don't create different materials, because it is like very difficult to manage these materials. See, this is the same material which I applied over in applied to this what you say building, the same mixed texture material which I applied on these parts of the building, because that's what I told you. I try to minimize all the way till the end, because, you know, too many textures are going to hang up your scene, plus adding fog is going to slow down your viewport. And I've heard, I got questions on Instagram saying what is the config of your PC. So you can see I'm using 2080 Ti, and it's like enough for me for right now. For the small work I'm doing, it's like fine with me. And you can see it is not consuming that much of VRAM, only 6.12. It is having whole scene inside, and it is fine with me, because it's having all the fog and everything going inside. So 6.12 is fine when you have 11 GB of VRAM. But yeah, if you are having 4 GB of VRAM, then you have to minimize all those things to more minimalistic scene you can create, right? So coming to the cars, for the cars what I did was I created this rubber texture and some chrome which I used. I got this, question also that your chrome is like too shiny, the road is very dirty, you should make it a little bit more dirty. I know I wanted to do that, but the thing is that sometimes you don't want to damage the old car, spoil the old cars. I want the, what you say, this texture of new looking chromes going on, because in the scene I was highlighting, when you see this from the scene, you see this whole chrome shining. I wanted that whole dark scene, whole evening, mid-morning scene to be like, a little bit something coming out of the scene. So that's why this was my personal choice. Obviously, if you are doing this dirty scene, you should not be doing this bright chrome, not a dirty one. Just it is like too clean right now. You can make it dirty, it depends on your choice and preferences. It was my design, I thought, okay, no, I won't be doing that. And one more thing I wanted to discuss, when I created this mixed texture for the road, there was some streaks going on, so I created these streaks. I aligned these streaks accordingly so that they can match the level, of cars. The cars are going from here, so the streak should be behind. So usually what I did was I thought, okay, this is going to be a nice idea, just put some streaks over there. I will just show you. See this flow. In the texture projection, I just moved some of the streaks here and there. You can see I just moved some of the streaks here and there and make them align to the car, so that you can feel, yeah, this car stopped here. So that was a good thing to do. I had, okay, giving it more realistic look. So I thought, okay, yeah, this is going fine. So right now, until this point, you have seen me not using too many textures. Like for the two buildings, I'm using only one texture, and it is the same texture, just adding some dirt onto it and putting over here, so it's not taking more of VRAM space right now. I know my scene is quite heavy, so please bear with me. So coming back in the building section only, I will be adding these two buildings. In these two buildings, what I did usually was basically these two buildings were crossing. The light was too strong. The light was too strong inside. So what I did was I created this plane with a glass texture on it, and in this glass texture I added some transmission. To it, so that this dark color would be there. So you can see that these buildings are old. Basically, it's just a normal glass texture. I wanted this kind of look, but I didn't wanted the light to go through totally exactly, because these old factory kind of buildings are same. They have like this black olive green kind of windows. So I wanted this kind of look. So at the end, it gave me something like this. So I added these planes I put inside the building with this glass texture. So to it will look like something is going on inside. There's a dark mirror. Something is like old kind of retro look to give, vintage look to give, like that. Okay, what else is there? Adding a bridge, which is again a free model as I told you, and adding Big Ben. So talking about the textures of all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buildings, what it is exactly, it's exactly the same texture which I used on everything else. And you will be like, how? It's like the same thing. See, the mixed texture I'm using is the same facade. I just did what I did was I just duplicated this and renamed it to facade dark, the mixed material only, not the other texture. Facade dark and facade light. So this is the light one, and just change the values, just change the dirt value on them. That's it. I don't have to create a whole new material for them. The dirt value is changed on them, and they are exactly the same textures. So doing this, what I achieved was a variation plus keeping the VRAM to the same 6 GB mark which I showed you before, so that the scene won't get that kind of heavy. So coming back, these are the cranes I added. For the cranes and all those structures, again, this is the simple wood texture which I put, and I added them. I obviously, this is only if even if I would have used 1K resolution, that would have been fine. But it's me, I don't know why I overboard things. I just used like 4K texture, which was totally unnecessary. It was just what you say, a project work I was doing for the client, so I have to like totally go all out. Otherwise, you can just totally save this. It won't even matter to you. It won't even matter to the scene. It will just save you some VRAM. I just have like 11 GB, so usually I don't care about this. So if you have a low VRAM, so you can go and reduce this textures to 1K. You can see how many 4K textures are there, and they are all usually unnecessary because nobody is going to see the detailing for this far, right? So you can just you can give it slack, cut a slack to it, go quite easy on it. There is no use of going so much overboarded with this kind of textures. And coming to the suspension of this bridge, yeah, this bridge suspension is having two mixed textures going on. One is the metal and one is just a random diffuse color. Nothing else is there inside. You can just, sorry, Cinema 4D crashed on me. I guess that's the main drawback of using so much of VRAM. Sometimes it crash, but I've heard people saying like Octane usually crashes. I don't know. Usually when I'm working on very steep scene, then only this kind of things happen. Anyway, coming back to the topic, I was saying that I just have this diffuse and this metal for the bridge suspension which I created, and that again this same texture I used everywhere over here on scaffolding, some on the crane metal, and some over here on the metals. I use this with same dirt value, added a noise and some float texture on it, and created this mixed texture to keep on what you say the bridge suspension, the scaffoldings. You can see it looks like little bit more grungy right now. I know this is not a final look. I will be showing you more final looks. So coming to this street light, let's open the street lights. These are street lights I made them from scratch. These are not a big deal kind of thing. You can just create your own street lights. What is the main thing I didn't talk about is the material on the sidewalk. That was quite tricky, and it was like it's the same texture, but I didn't want it the same look going again. People can see there's a pattern going on, and you don't want that. So what I did was I divided these. You can see these are different panels. So I divided these panels, put some texture of road onto them. You can see this is a small plate. I put some texture of the roads onto them. This is the texture. So I put some texture over here. I added some wetness inside. I created this material for the road which is like a little bit wet. It is having puddles and everything. You can create this, and then what I did was added some concrete material and mixed it with some road material, and then created this whole another material which I put have some dirt with it to move this wet look here and there on the edges, so that you can't say that this is all having a same pattern. And I added this material on something else, one plate, and this another dark material on another plate, and this another third material on another plate. Basically these are all the same materials. I again duplicated the mixed material, and just you can see this wet slab. I just duplicated this material. I just duplicated this material and created the dirt map. I created another one. So it's just some things which are like same in one perspective, and you can just make different outputs out of the same thing. If you want me to go to the deep thing, I will just go with you. So this is the first texture in the wet slab. I created a road texture on the concrete texture, and I created a normal concrete. I wanted to go very less with them because I was already using 6K resolution, which made sense in this case because these are very close to the camera. I wanted them to look as real as possible, so I added some color correction on them and just connected them to the mix texture 1, material 1. And with the water puddles, what I did was created this water puddles with some bump map going on and some concrete roughness and texture going on. So added some water puddles on them, did some color correction on them, and added over here in the material section, and added the same texture of water puddles which I used over here, and transformed it to get this exact look. Okay, so to get this exact look, remember I am just putting them on different there are different slabs, and I am putting them on different slabs to have a different, like, little bit variation going on. So that was this, and you can see the sidewalk. I will just show you. Yeah, sidewalk also. These are the textures going on, and this is the street light. Basically the top part is from somewhere else. I created in Maya, and this I created in Cinema 4D. I don't know, I use two softwares at a time. Sometimes it's like that. Maybe I'm somewhere I'm comfortable doing something, somewhere I'm not comfortable. Basically I like to create my scenes in Cinema 4D because it's like too flexible. I like Cinema 4D because of this thing. So coming back to this, the fogs. If I turn on the fog, the system is going to turn very slow. The scene will be very slow, but I'm turning it anyway, and I will just fast forward this. Yeah, luckily it just came through. So the fogs are like you can see in this scene. I will just open a new panel to show you, so that I don't want to have to refresh again and again. So these are the fogs. The fogs I usually use in this are like free fogs I got from internet. There's a cloud versions you can get anywhere. I will just provide you the links. You can just download them. These are the VDB volumes cloud. Some of them I made in Houdini itself. Some of them I just created in different softwares. So, and many of them are free also. So there are, like you can see, there are fog versions. Fog is coming from these three chimneys. There are three different kind of fogs. Okay, so fog is coming from, you can say fog or smoke, my bad. So these are three chimneys again, 1, 2, and one more is over here. There is again the smoke is coming from there, and over here we have fog. Basically it's like why I mixed smoke with fog, because it's the same kind of cloud. I use somewhere I use it as cloud, somewhere I increased the resolution and made it like in kilometers and made it big so that I can use it as a fog. It depends how you use your assets. So basically I will go with you for 2-3 main things, like the fog over here, this big one which is covering inside. What I did was I had this high resolution cloud which I made in kilometers. Then I went inside, turned the scattering and absorption to totally white and density to 0.05. Then step length I turned to 33.4, 33. The more step length you increase, the less the rendering time is going to be. If you decrease it over here, the rendering time will increase, and you can see totally the darkness and the fog going on. Basically I don't want that, because the rendering time will increase. You can see it will give you, sometimes it will give you very good option also, but I don't want to do that because I don't want to crash my PC right now, and I just want to attain a very subtle amount of fog going on. So this was with the fog. I will just close down the fog for now and explain you some camera changes I did in cameras. I know we talked about this 15mm lens, so this was the one change I did. Then coming back to this camera imager, I enable the denoiser. I didn't enable the fog denoiser right now because sometimes I like the the fog having this noise inside. Every time the fog is not totally smooth. Sometimes it is having noise inside, and you can see it in the environment around you. It's not totally what you say smoothness going on the fog. And I usually don't go with the denoiser total zero value. I add some 0.4, 0.2 to get this noise kind of thing going on in the environment. Even if you put denoiser on, it won't be totally denoise on the smooth as it is. Like if I change, it will be totally different. So I did this. So I played with the effect also. I like this effect, Aqua Color Optima 2. I don't know what it is, but I use this. There are many things you can change. Be free to use so many effects. Octane has this effects. These are totally free. And I played with Vignette also 0.3. Then the scene was done for me in the matter of camera. Then at the last I thought, okay, have some what you say depth of field going on. So what I did was I created this target object. Maybe I can let you see it. Yes, this is a target object. So I focused on it. I just clicked on focus and clicked on the target object and hide it from the scene so that you can't see this in the scene. And with the help of this, I increased the what you say f-stop, giving little bit clarity over here and going what you say totally little bit blurred out at the behind scene, because right now you can't see it. I will be adding fog and be showing you the whole scene. So this was it with this whole scene. And turning back to the lights, these are the lights which I have in the scene. Let's turn them on. So this is the light. I have these two big lights in between. Basically only these are the only two lights in the whole scene, and one daylight is going on. I don't usually, in the morning scene, I don't go all out with the lights, so many lights. There is no need. You will make the scene more fake. I wanted to avoid that, so I added these two lights which were giving reflections. You can see if I close them, there would be very different kind of reflection on the mirrors and on the buildings. When I switch them on, you can see this light reflection going on, and this kind of waves going on. So I was thinking, okay, yeah, I can turn the lights on and I can have some lights. I don't want to have too many lights. You can see the detailing over here. Right now we'll go with you with the settings of Octane, but I will just discuss. Like right now you can see that these are a little bit too blur, right? Why? Because I'm just on 500 samples. Basically when I rendered this out, it was like 12,000 samples, so it was too high samples going on, and I didn't do anything else. Just 12,000 over here, the basic setting 1212, made the GI clamp to 1, and added a adaptive sampling. Basically when you do this when you have animation going on, I just turned it on. Nothing else is in the scene. Yeah, if the VRAM is causing you more issues on 2020, you can just decrease the tile sample. Over here you can just make them 16 or even bit more less, 8 or something, so you will have this less issue with the VRAM. So now I will just turn on the fog with the whole scene and the whole lighting applied, and you can just see the result overall, how the result is. This is the basic image. Going back to this image, this is the image after editing, and this is the image I got from Octane. So basically you can see everything, almost 95% was done in Octane, and the post I did was little bit adding some vignette in the Photoshop, and adding some effects of tint effect in the Photoshop, like just going and having some hue saturation going on over here. That's it. I never wanted to add anything else over here, because I told you I'd like to achieve everything in 3D itself. This was Octane again, and this is the edited version. So I try to keep post as minimalistic as possible. I've seen people, adding post and the usually playing with the post and achieving good, better, so much good effects. Basically, I don't do that. Maybe I'm not good with the post, or maybe it's just that I want to achieve everything in 3D itself to make it more convincing and realistic as much as possible. Hope you like this walkthrough, because this is my first walkthrough, this is my first tutorial. I know I didn't go through each and every material, and that was not my whole objective. So I added some links in the description, so you can check out my Instagram channel, and please provide a follow and like if you like this video. Have a nice day.